All right, you motherfuckers, welcome to another episode of the Films with Ferrell podcast. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in here today. Today's episode should be even more fun than typical because we will be under the influence of NyQuil throughout the duration of this filming. Typically, we have more caffeine running through my body than caffeine runs through somebody else's body. We're talking 300 plus milligrams. But today, hey, we're going to be trying out NyQuil, seeing what happens. If I fall asleep, I apologize. If I don't fall asleep and I just start running off on weirder tangents than I normally do, I apologize. Not really. But we will be getting things started here today. Very excited. This is probably one of the newest movies I can actually review. It came out on Thursday. We watched it on Thursday. We got a little sick. We're filming here on Saturday. Apologize for being a little bit late to the viewers that have already reached out saying, hey, where the fuck is my podcast? Well, hey, here it is. A lot of great things going on here today. We will be reviewing The Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad that we might have seen a couple years ago, but The Suicide Squad. I'm going to call it Suicide Squad 2. Apparently, that might have just been taken or maybe just was too elaborate of a name. So The Suicide Squad is the movie that we will be reviewing today. Before we dive any deeper into the conversation, we'd just like to take some time here. Here we are, episode 5. We're doing some very big things. We've had sponsors, luckily, throughout the entire show. I was very intrigued by this sponsor, paid a lot of money to actually get on the show here today. So, big shout out to Susie Sweepers. If you're looking for a good suck, well, you are in luck. Susie Sweepers, folks, strap in. We're going to get after it. All right, folks, so like I mentioned, we will be reviewing The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad can be seen in theaters or it can be seen on HBO Go. The cool thing about HBO Go, you can be sitting there watching it on your TV, in your underwear, eating your own food, hitting the pause button, going to your own bathroom. You could try to do that in movie theaters. I think it might be frowned upon, but when it comes to watching movies at your own home, really can't pass that up. I'm cool with not going to a movie theater to see this movie, although it was a good movie. Speaking of the movie, looking at about 2 hours and 12-minute runtime here. Movie was written and directed by James Gunn. Now, James Gunn, most notably that I could see, writer and director of the Guardians of the Galaxy series. So it's obvious he knows what he's doing when it comes to these superhero movies. I guess this would be kind of like a supervillain movie, but hey, as we saw in the first one, as we see in this one, some shit goes down. You find the Suicide Squad saving the world. I'll classify that as a superhero movie right now. Fuck off if you say any different. Writer and director of that. James Gunn, also writer of The Belko Experiment. I'm not sure if you've checked it out or not. If you have not, check it out. Pretty fucked up movie, pretty interesting concept. James Gunn, a writer of that as well. In terms of the overall cast, looking at a rock star cast, we have Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, Viola Davis, and many, many, many more. Each person extremely popular. Joel Kinnaman, he was in the first one as well. House of Cards, he had a very nice arc in there as well. Idris Elba, film list through the roof. Viola Davis, filmography through the roof. John Cena, if you don't know him, what's wrong with you? Really like him as an actor, really like him with hair, like him without hair. We're not going to discriminate against hair on this podcast. We got Margot Robbie as well. Margot Robbie, Wolf of Wall Street, I, Tonya, Suicide Squad, so many more to boot as well. So just an outstanding cast. And then I guess the little cherry on the cake, you have Sylvester Stallone as the character King Shark. It's basically Sylvester Stallone's voice over a big giant shark that's walking around. He wears shorts. Really kind of steals some of the scenes that he's in as well. But overall, solid movie. When it comes to reviewing these movies, first and foremost, guys, I am not, a superhero DC, Marvel, super nerd. I dabble in the nerdom of this. I do love superhero movies, but I don't know enough to, cite the comics, get upset if a character is different in the movie than it might have been in the comic. I just love movies, and I like talking about movies. So if you are a film buff, like me, great. If you're a comic buff, a DC, a Marvel nerd, I'm sorry that, I'm sorry if we, if we don't go into all of the comic shit. But hey, we're just going to talk about the movie. Overall, definitely recommend watching this movie, especially if you have it really at your fingertips to be watching in terms of HBO Go. This movie is so fucking gory. So if you don't like gore, this movie's not going to be for you. There's literally graphic deaths, I think, as soon as the movie even starts. It is absolutely wild. I was shocked by the amount of gore that was in this movie. I mean, not that I really care, but I was like, holy shit. At one point, you have a shark literally, you think the shark's going to eat somebody, which he does. You see in the trailer, this shark literally rips somebody in fucking half. I mean, it was just like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm not going to eat. Maybe I'm just going to actually watch this movie. So it was very wild. I guess in Europe or England in Europe, I guess there's a weird rating system there. Obviously, this movie is rated R in the U.S., but I guess a lot of the movie reviewers were shocked that this wasn't given a grade of, I think they have a grade of 18. It's like the most extreme. I think it was graded at a 15. I don't know. I'm living over here in the States. I really haven't cared about what Europe did since 1776. Anyway, I just saw that. I thought I would let you guys know as well. Very interesting movie though. I like Will Smith. I liked him in the first one. It seems like Idris Elba has really kind of taken over in this movie. Will Smith wasn't in the movie. I like Idris Elba a lot more with his character and his character development. Overall, the characters are great. The story was great. The gore was great. Overall, a solid movie. Would really recommend everybody checking it out. In terms of, checking things out too and recommending, really just talking about Susie's sweepers. Now, folks, I have a dog at home. The dog sheds a lot, looking for something strong, looking for some great suction, looking for some quiet suction. Susie's sweepers is absolutely the way to go. Really just a very quiet suck and is able to clean up the entire apartment in a very timely fashion. You can clean up dog hair. You can clean up Cheetos from couches. I don't know how they got there. You can clean up really just about anything with this. It's just got that high, powerful suction that you can really rely on. In a time where suction is, even more important than it maybe has been in your grandparents' day or your parents' day, some great suction coming here from Susie's Sweepers. So I really recommend you guys checking it out. So it's that beautiful time in the show where I mentioned if you haven't watched the movie yet, probably a good idea to go ahead and hit the pause button on this. Go invest 2 hours, 12 minutes of your time. Especially with these movies, you have to stay until after the credits roll. There is something there that's not really a spoiler. That's just how superhero movies work. If you don't have HBO Go, probably account for about 3 to 4 hours. You got to account for traffic, bathroom breaks, stopping to get snacks. Who knows along the way there. Definitely a solid movie, though. I will give it my 1 thumb up. I'm not going to give it 2 fat thumbs up. Like I mentioned, there's a lot to unpack right here. It's still pretty new. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what's going on. I'm still kind of looking into research, just why they did the things they do. But hey, if you haven't checked out the movie yet, go and hit the pause button. If you have checked out the movie, let's dive a little bit deeper into what the fuck's going on here. So we'll go ahead and give you a couple seconds there. Go and hit that pause button. Viewer discretion advised. We'll probably get down and dirty, talk about the movie. But yeah, let's enjoy. All right, so like I mentioned, I don't read comic books. I don't view comic books. I try to shy away from reading if I don't really have to. That's why, if you're like me, that's why we watch the movies. It kind of reads it on the screen for you, or at least people are talking. I really don't know about the comics. I don't know about the history of the comics, the history of the characters in the comics and things like that. But I was very surprised by the amount of characters that this movie killed off literally from the beginning. The movie showed Pete Davidson actually being in this movie. Pete Davidson takes a fucking missile to the face. Literally, I think within 10 minutes of this movie even starting, boom, he's gone. The dude with the little boomerangs that was in the first movie, boom, he just gets fucking lit up as well. You were introduced to all these characters, boom, 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 like fucking dead. Within the first 5 to 10 minutes, you're like, what the fuck am I watching? And then, it takes a little bit of time traveling back just to kind of learn a little bit of the history about some of these characters, how they got inside the suit. Suicide Squad. You literally open up with some fucking Flash-looking motherfucker with his long blonde hair, throwing a little ball against some walls. I don't know if he was in the comic books or not, but it's like, okay, this dude looks like a weird Flash character, but with long hair, just kind of chilling. Dude fucking pussies out, like literally as soon as shit gets real, starts swimming in the ocean next to this fucking weasel that I don't know what's doing in the movie. And Viola Davis just clicks a button, dude's head just fucking pops right off. So it was, we're introduced to all these characters and just like boom, 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 dead. Really reminded me of the one scene in, I think it was the second Deadpool movie, where Deadpool was kind of getting this ensemble, this Justice League of characters, spending some time kind of investing in each character, and then just literally kills them off all at the same time, which I thought was hilarious. But in this movie, I really wasn't expecting them to do that. But that really kind of threw me through a loop. Other than that, I like the development of the characters. I really thought the scene where they're set to rescue Colonel Flagg. Colonel Flagg, I'm a big fan of Colonel Flagg. He's kind of like he's the good guy and all the bad guys. So he tries to keep shit, high and tight and locked up, but, they think he's trapped. I guess they might have got some bad intel, but literally it's like John Cena, Idris Elba, the big shark, the rat girl, just fucking massacring this just militia of people. And then we find out the militia was actually the resistance. It was a whole bunch of good guys. Colonel Flagg, was fine. He was actually rescued. And, I guess the woman commander's wondering what happened to her staff. Literally just fucking got obliterated. I mean, it's kind of funny. It was a nice little, comedic touch right there. Also the comedic touch where they find out Harley Quinn's still alive. They're going to rescue her. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn had literally just wiped a whole fucking palace of guards and just catches the team trying to rescue her. She was very appreciative. She was like, hey, can I go back and, I could go lock myself back up and you guys can rescue me if you want, but hey, I got out. So, I mean, the comedic elements of this, it's what makes it a good movie, in my opinion. But the character development was good as well. I was really surprised, too, that, you killed off Colonel Flagg towards the end of the movie, where John Cena really just kind of sticks that fucking piece of glass and you see it go right into his heart, and you're like, well, fuck, like, this is my dude. This is the one good guy out of all the, real bad guys. But I guess, Colonel Flagg had to die. I looked it up. I was like, why the fuck are we killing off this guy? Apparently the comic books do the exact same thing as well. So trying to stay true to the comics, which I appreciate. Again, not a reader, not a comic book guy. So that stung until I kind of realized, hey, and he had to die, I guess, which I guess is tough, but hey, you're dead, so I guess you're not really feeling anything after that. But yeah, overall, I mean, I would say a pretty solid movie, a lot of solid characters, a lot of solid character development in the movie. Was very surprised that we're killing off that many characters that we spent at least time getting to know. But it was cool. In one scene, they're just sitting down, having a drink, getting ready to kind of kidnap this scientist. And next thing you know, they start just, taking shot after shot, start dancing. So that was kind of cool as well. The ending, I wasn't expecting anything, in terms of the ending. The Suicide Squad, the first movie, it was like a demon god that they were battling. In this movie, it's a fucking starfish. It's like a big starfish out of Pokemon. I had no clue what the fuck was going on with that. It's just like, hey, this big alien starfish. It's not a traditional alien. I guess in this movie, aliens are a starfish. So Patrick Star, look out. It's about time for you to shine. But this big, giant starfish literally just, inhabits the island after they try to blow up the data center or the science center, what have you. And then, what's left of Project X, the Suicide Squad's literally just trying to kill this starfish. And then, hey, we're going to, the only way to actually kill a starfish, I guess is to summon all the rats in the area and just have the rats just slowly eat away at the starfish, and then the starfish just goes down like you had a bad Krusty Krab pizza or a Krusty Krab burger or what have you. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting a big giant starfish to be, the final boss that the team faces at the very end. But it was like, hey, you know what? If we're going to make a gory, comedic, action, gory comic book movie, let's throw in a fucking starfish and just have some rats go into its big old eye and just eat the fuck out of it until it just falls like a fucking domino. So I thought that was a interesting part of it. But overall, I mean, we're blessed now to actually have a lot more movies finally coming out. Obviously, COVID put a stop to a lot of that. So, really glad that we have some of these superhero movies, just some of these movies in general, finally starting to be releasing on multiple platforms. But Suicide Squad, I thought, was really a strong movie, strong characters throughout, strong cast. Just a lot of fucking gore as well. Like I mentioned, Sylvester Stallone's character, King Shark, literally just ripping somebody in half. I thought he was hilarious. He's when he's playing with like the little fish, and you think, oh, like maybe he's got some friends, and then the fish tank blows up and he's swimming with them, and next thing you know, these fish are like fucking poisonous. They just start trying to attack him. It's like, oh no. But he really reminded me kind of of like a Groot type character. Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy is just like a cool little branch tree, just kind of there. But obviously a shark's a little bit different than a tree. A shark has teeth and fins and things like that. And then you have the dude that just throws polka dots, and everything he sees reminds him of his mom that made him a superhero. So I thought that was pretty funny as well. So there's a lot of great comedic elements in this movie. Definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't already. But if you made it this far, you should be checking it out, because I told you there were spoilers about 7 minutes ago. What the hell are you doing? But I digress. Definitely a movie I would recommend checking out. In conclusion, like I mentioned, the Suicide Squad, a.k.a. Suicide Squad 2, a.k.a. Suicide Squad Dos, recommending. Giving it a thumb, maybe a thumb and a half up. Really, the cast, the writing, the comedy in all of it really just did it for me. If you're going to make a movie where there is a fuck ton of blood and guts, let's make it funny. And James Gunn definitely does that with a lot of great elements. And the actors and actresses do a phenomenal job with the timing of it all as well. So definitely recommend this movie, checking it out. Probably one of the better superhero movies I've seen in the last little bit. But hey, what I like about the Suicide Squad is you're not going to see Batman, you're not going to see Superman, you're not going to see Robin, the Flash tearing people up, just fucking massacring people. Batman doesn't really even kill people, but in this movie you're allowed to see all that, because that's just kind of second nature. That's what is the beauty of the Suicide Squad. But really appreciate you guys taking the journey with me here today. Really appreciate all the feedback, whether you guys, writing reviews on the podcast venues, whether you reaching out personally, just the views, the downloads, the subscriptions, everything. Keep it going. Soon we should be branching out on YouTube, allowing us for a little bit more sponsorship as well. But again, we would be nothing. This show would be nothing without the people that pay us to come on here and make it day in and day out. So just a big Films with Ferrell shout out. Again, thank you so much to, episode 5 sponsor, Susie's Sweepers. Strong suction you can always rely on. Susie Sweepers. Folks, enjoy your day. We'll talk to you soon.